So we're in the final stretch here, and in a lot of ways, really important final few innings here, as we're going to get to talk to and hear from some of the recruiters. So folks who are on the front lines and interacting with people who are looking to get into the industry. So just a ton of great information on this panel as well. So with that, let me ask each of you to introduce yourselves, talk a little bit about your firm and what you do within it.
I am Maria Sather. I am our senior recruiting partner at Marq Capital. We are headquartered in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which you can probably tell by my accent. We have 36 offices nationwide, and we are one of the largest privately owned intermediaries in the United States, focusing on debt, equity, life of a loan servicing. All of our relationships are primarily with Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, CMBS, life companies.
Mike Wisniewski, Head of Human Resources for Arbor Commercial Mortgage and Arbor Realty Trust. Unlike a lot of the other firms that are here tonight, we're more of a boutique company. We have 350 employees. We have a public company and a private company. We're a lender, specialized lender. And with 350 employees last year, we lend about $3.5 billion. This year we probably expect to do about $4 billion. We also have a Freddie license, a Fannie license, FHA license, and we also do on the other side, on the structured finance side, the short-term debt, bridge, mezz, and preferred equity. Headquartered in New York, our really a concentration of people are really in New York, Boston, and Buffalo. Our servicing group, the other offices are primarily sales offices.
And I'm David Forbes. I am from Berkadia. We're a joint venture between Berkshire Hathaway and Locadia National. Headquartered out of New York, most of our operations are actually out of just north of Philadelphia. We are a full-service commercial real estate firm. We do investment sales as well as placing debt and equity. We are also one of the largest servicers. We have about $240 billion in UPB, unpaid balance at this point. Growing, getting ready to take on the marketplace. New leadership, definitely a lot of energy, young leadership now, a lot of injected talent from Locadia, and really focusing on trying to build our branch offices across the country, as well as our servicing operation. Obviously, we do a lot of our own servicing in Wells Fargo and a lot of the other organizations that have been here as well.
Great. So Maria, what kinds of people are you looking for in your organization? Well,
it's been mentioned several times tonight. It's our industry is based on relationships. So obviously we're looking for people that aren't afraid to have conversations with people that they've never maybe talked to before. We're looking for hard workers. We're looking for people with, all of us companies are looking for people with good ethics, good skills that you're coming out of school with. Excel was mentioned earlier, analytical skills.
Great.
Could go on and on.
Yeah. How about you, Mike?
Similar. You know, you hear the word analyst. Everyone you start off as an analyst, but an analyst can be, different components of that particular career path, if you will, that you have. Certainly their analytical skills are critically important. Relationship management. We hear about deals coming in on the origination side. So if we're looking for an originator, we're looking for somebody who's really very sales driven. Really, that's the gut. You fire in your belly, you want to be a salesperson, you want to make a lot of money, you want to have control over your destiny. We have a sales training program that really, that's one of the key components, just the fact that what do you really want to do? I want to be a salesperson, I want to make a lot of money, and then that's the driver. You have to have the analytical skills, you have to have the work ethic, you have to have the, commitment to really do a great job. You hear about work ethic, you hear about being resourceful, creativity, flexibility. Those are the things we're all looking for. And then you bring in those raw talents coupled with somebody who has an interest in real estate, good analytical skills, bringing to the table, what can I do for you? How can I contribute to this organization? Those are very positive, important attributes that you want to bring to the table.
Great. And David?
Yeah, what he said. No, I mean, it's kind of tough because you're trying to quantify something that it's about attitude, it's about desire, it's about the desire to learn what drives you. A lot of times when interviewing people, it really is just how do you interact, how do you present yourself, Yeah, the analytical skills and your knowledge, you're coming out of school. In some cases with the alum, they might have some more experience. In a lot of cases, there's not a lot of depth there, so what we're looking at is raw potential. You know, one of my favorite sayings in an interview is answer the question and stop talking. Because you literally can talk yourself out of an interview, but you get to your point. And so when you're trying to convey, when you're trying to express yourself, that desire comes out. You know, you just have to be yourself, but it's, you know, yeah, the Excel skills are important, but, you know, most of the, at least within Berkadia, our primary platform, at least people coming in, are going to be at the analyst level. But that, as you heard with the panel just previous before and even before that, it's problem solving. It's the desire to just, the intellectual challenge. It's, yeah, you want to make a lot of money, but you got to learn how to do it first. So it's really just diving in and getting into the technical aspects of what it is, because as Mark Twain once said, education is what you get after you've forgotten all that you've learned in school.
So picking up on that, if we want to, what are some of the opportunities that you all have in terms of internships and jobs and careers? Sort of talk a little bit about the way you see people entering the firm and getting their foot in the door. Do you want to start, David?
Oh, sure. Typically, the entry path that we've seen so far is at the analyst level, like I'd indicated. Internships are a great learning opportunity. A majority of these organizations that are here today will definitely look at internships as an avenue to getting full-time jobs. Some might call them bridge jobs, but it's on-the-job training. It could be a 3 or 4 month interview if you really want to look at it that way. What it allows for you to do is get that basis, because if you have an internship on your resume, because that's something that will probably come up, is what about a resume looks attractive to us? An internship is definitely that way. You know, one way to get that attention, obviously Georgetown, American University, good schools don't hurt either. But the analyst level, from there, you see, you know, if you like the technical aspect, you'll see people go into the underwriting side of the house. If you like the sales aspect, like Mike was talking about, you get into the origination side, you get into the sales side.
Similar to us too, we have in our office, again, we're a small shop, so we have Boston is kind of our screening group, and we have our processing group, underwriting group. So on the credit side, we'll bring in somebody, usually on an undergraduate level, that'll have an internship, maybe a year of experience, and we bring them in as a screener. Last year, we closed about 500 deals. So the screening department screened over 5,000 deals, and there was 17 people in that particular department. And we take those individuals and we tell them, you're going to be here for probably 18 months. And you're going to learn that particular business, you're going to learn the trade, and we expect you to move on to the processing area, which then is going to set the pace to be an underwriter. We anticipate that promotion, we kind of go with the unofficial guidelines, is that 2 years, either you're up or out. Either you've gained it and you're learning and you're moving upwards, this is probably not the right industry for you. And that kind of goes along through the underwriting realm. Again, we're a lender, so we've got underwriting. We also have on the closing, after you close the deal, asset management side, which is another kind of combination of both. You hear about closing the deal, but after you close the deal, it doesn't go away. You're working with that client for years. So the asset management side is also critically important, because your relationship management, you have to understand the integrity of that loan. You have to make sure that the client's adhering to those provisions. So it's a balancing act. So there's a lot of interesting stuff to do post-closing. So we have kind of the same type of career path, if you, whether it's on the asset management side or whether it's on the underwriting side. Kind of 2 years, you're moving along to a more senior level position. Sales is a little bit different, because you're moving into having that fire in your belly, if you will, but critically important to our industry. Everyone you hear, whether the senior leaders or the associates, underwriting is the foundation of the business. And if you understand the deal, it'll help you propel yourself into another area of the business, whether it's technical expertise or whether it's sales.
We're the same. We have very, very similar to what they've all said. Both sides of our business, our production side, internships can move into an investment analyst role, and then we've recently created an associate producer program, which is kind of a hybrid between an analyst, senior analyst, into producer, to help them kind of train them and and work on that, and then full producers. And then on servicing side, internships available year-round, and then we've got analyst positions in our portfolio, our escrow side, our investor reporting side. But there's a lot of different kind of avenues you can move around. You can move from servicing to production, production to servicing. So there's kind of a lot of different avenues, but they all kind of start with analytical underwriting.
People sort of sift into the
Sifting,
different
yep.
places where they feel most at
Yep.
home. We know the drill. Any questions right now? All right. So, Mike, what do you think it's most important for folks to know about commercial real estate if they're sort of thinking about the industry, if they're thinking about opportunities in it?
Well, what's exciting about the industry, I've been doing the HR stuff for a very long time, but I just came into commercial real estate 10 years ago. 11 and a half years ago, I'd never even heard of Arbor. I wasn't looking for a job. I didn't have a resume. I got a phone call one day from a headhunter about this company called Arbor that was creating a public entity, and they were looking for an HR guy. Well, here I am 11 years later. And what you heard about from virtually every one of the other panelists, every deal is different, and which makes it very exciting. You hear about from people who've been in this industry for 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 years, every deal is different. What's also very exciting about it is that wherever I go somewhere, and I'm sure everyone here who's in the industry, every one of those buildings has a story. So you hear about the young lady who was talking about that crazy deal of building the 90 units, kind of a very new concept. Well, somebody has to come up with that idea, okay? Somebody has to then sell the idea. Somebody who's going to raise the money, who's going to build the property, who's now going to sell the particular concept to those individuals, and ultimately you're here to make money. And as Jamie said in the beginning, it's amazing how much money, trillions of dollars here. So we all want a piece of it. That's fine, and you can make a very good living in it. And what's exciting about it is you'll always remember that first deal. Every time that she drive past that building, she'll say, "I had a piece of that particular building. I helped make that deal work." And that's what's exciting about it. I hear that over and over again.
Yeah.
And I'm the HR guy. I'm not even a deal guy.
Yes.
How about you, Maria?
The same. It's very, I keep saying it, everyone on each panel has said it, relationship based. You're going to run into people. Many of you are classmates of each other now. You may kind of, when you graduate, go different paths, but you'll run across each other. And then it's tangible too. You can drive down the street and see the property that you're working on, which is great because it's right in front of you. You can see it, and then you go back to your desk, see all the numbers behind it too.
Okay. Dave?
I've been doing staffing and recruiting for the better part of about 20 years now, and I've worked in industries, pharmaceutical, chemical, biochemical, technology, all of it. The one thing that I found very striking about financial services, commercial real estate in particular, is that everyone is wicked smart, and it's full of a lot of great people. It is very much a relationship-driven environment. It is very much that, you don't need to be gregarious. You don't need to be the most energetic person. Everybody finds a spot. And then, at least what I've seen in Berkadia so far is they've got your back. And I'm sure every senior leader that's here and every person that's been here will have the same stories. Stretch. Reach for it. We got your back. Maybe not reply all to the entire company when you do it, but really just be able to extend yourself and take that chance. It's about the risk. And as long as you have somebody there to cut the rope in case you get yourself hung up, it makes it a lot easier to actually learn and grow, because then you have the company has your back. And I hear these stories too. Oh yeah, and I'll come up with a resume and I'll be like, "Hey, look, I found somebody really good." "Yeah, we know him." "What?" "Yeah, we know him. He's good." No, he's good, but he's not going to fit in the culture. And that's something that you'll also find is that because it is relationship driven, there will be a cultural fit, and you were touching on that as well, is that you have to get along with the people you work with. If you don't, maybe it's not the right fit. But if you love the industry and you're passionate about it, you'll find that home. You'll find that place because it is out there. There are a lot of companies that do this. In your job search, you'll find it's going to be a numbers game. Don't give up. Don't get frustrated, because it'll be that one call you least expect, or that one final call that you're like, another phone call, it'll be that one. And so don't give up. If you're dedicated, you have the desire to get in. We're here. we're out there, we're paying attention, trust me. We see the resumes on LinkedIn, we see them apply to our jobs and everything else. We are paying attention. It's just going to be, there's always just some luck involved in it.
To add to
Network
that,
helps,
I'm
though.
sorry, to add to that too, it's always a matter of timing, from all of our jobs. It's a matter of timing. Just by chance you talk to this person or that person, I think you're the greatest guy, person in the world, but if I don't have an opening in my firm right now, then, well, just nothing's going to happen. I received an email about a half an hour ago from our head of production. We have a sales analyst training program, and we literally are not a big shop. We have maybe 10 people that we can take into the particular group. We brought an individual in about 6 months ago, but the idea is within 18 months, they hopefully will be an originator. After about 6 months, this person realized this is probably not right for him, so we left, which is fine, it happens. An individual who we actually interviewed about 3 months ago we thought a terrific candidate, we just didn't have a spot. So literally my head of sales said, hey, I think I want to reach out to Austin. I said, I think it's a great idea. We didn't have a spot for him 3 weeks ago, now we do. We're probably going to make him a job offer. It's just always a matter of timing, so don't give up. Basically you're going out fishing. You're going to throw out 100 fishing lines. You're going to look at, hopefully, one of them is going to click. Even though it is a great market, the best market we've seen in many, many years, but not everybody's going to get a job right away. Don't give up.
Any questions up there?
Mr. Charles, thank you very much for being here. Just wondering about the learning opportunity. Is everything on the job learning, or is there like a training program for some of the people that don't have a real estate background?
Well, from our point of view, we have, there's a lot of great schools that have real estate programs, or even there's NYU, Columbia, Wharton. So if someone is going for an undergraduate degree, or maybe just taking some courses, there's plenty of things, the MBA, various different places you can learn online about the business. And I think that when and one of the great places is talking to people. So yes, it's on the job when you're working in a Fannie shop or a Freddie shop. You have to literally learn the manual of about those particular deals. But there are a lot of different courses you can take on a one-off basis just to learn about the business.
Maria, anything to add on that?
Yeah, everything he said too. But most of our, we train obviously on, hands-on training. We offer tuition reimbursement. A lot of companies offer tuition reimbursement if you want to go back to school for a real estate certificate of some sort or more training. Your local industry, NIOP, ULI, CCIM, list goes on and on. Many of them have programs. Go and listen to those. You're going to learn a lot from industry people too in your local market.
We actually, because the School of Hard Knocks really is a School of Hard Knocks, and you don't want to set someone up to fail. We actually have started Berkadia University internally within our organization. We're developing subject matter experts for the Fannie and the Freddie deals where our senior deal managers are actually training junior analysts. Probably sometime in the start of 16, first or second quarter, we're actually going to start an analyst training program. I don't know if it'll make it a rotational program like was mentioned with Eleanor, but something where we're giving them the background. We're training you as you're learning the job, because any of the analysts have a progression from you're literally using Excel to your fingers bleed. We do give you a mouse. You can try it with the keyboard if it really floats your boat, but we do give you a mouse. And then you kind of progress into the due diligence, and then you start interfacing with the customers, and then you get into sort of an associate mortgage banker where you're splitting deals, but not really splitting the deals, but you see that progression 5, 6, 7 years. It's just going to depend on how fast you learn. It can be shorter, but it's not something where we're going to throw you to the wolves and hope you swim.
Another good point that what you're saying too is that we also create, we're a much smaller shop, but we actually did create Arbor University as well. And a lot of different classes, if you will, are on there that are, some are very technical, others are kind of soft skills. One of the things you heard from a number of people who on the previous panels who were working as associates, one of them might have been a political science major or an English major, but they know Excel. You have to know it. If you don't have those basic skills, you can't be in this industry. You just can't. You have to understand that. So those are the things you can get on your own and bring to the table and help develop while you're on the job.
And Michael mentioned too that the MBA online, that you guys have a lot of great courses, online, and they're great. So check that out too.
Okay. I think there was a question back there. Yes.
Derek Bussey, graduate student at George Washington. I'll open this question up to you and the leaders panel. Do you have any experience, recommendations from somebody in the single-family financing transitioning over to commercial financing?
Great question.
Stand up.
Would you like a microphone?
Here, we got a seat for you.
Yeah, I have personal experience. I ran Freddie Mac's single-family business in the early 2000s. I moved over in 2005 to multifamily to run that. It's extremely different business. There was a question I was going to be asked, and I would have told you the story, but the single-family business from a financing standpoint is an actuarial business. So you really don't look at the real estate. You really don't get to know the borrower. What you do is all statistically based. You know that I got a 720 FICO score with an LTV 20% down, that's probably the default of the book. And if you do enough of those, you can cover your costs. Everything works great. So and then you look at the sales process for those loans is all about the structured finance market and whether you can put those in a REMIC or what's the bid for the dollar roll. So it's very different business. It's so removed from what the actual asset is. People in the business are typically huge corporations. So they got their corporate structure, and they're far less creative, I found. So when I moved over to multifamily, I was blown away because I remember talking to a guy, a big builder who's local, and he says to me, "It's a relationship business." I said, "You know what? I don't know what the hell that means." Because in management committees, guys who used to run multifamily would say that all the time. I don't know what that means. Well, I do business with you because I really value the relationship. I said, "Oh, you do? What if my price is a basis point higher than the next guy?" "I'll do it with you." "Really? What if it was two?" "Yep, you. Three, you. Four, you. Five, you. Six." "Okay, I got to think about that." Get up to about 10, because at 10, you're out. And so in single family, I get pitched for like a quarter of a basis point. It's ruthless, absolute ruthless. It's all about the numbers and it's very little to do with relationships. And so it's just a different business. It's a big machine. What do? You crank out mortgages, put them into a pass-through that gets bought by a REMIC structure that gets diced up and sent out to insurance companies, LifeCos, and casualty companies. So very different business. And I can tell you this, so people on the multifamily side, commercial side, look at the single-family side and say they're idiots. The people on the single-family side look at the multifamily guys and commercial side and say they're idiots. And what they don't understand is very, very different businesses. They're both extremely technical and can be incredibly rewarding. They're just different. So if you're a quant and you like to find value in a stack of mortgages, 1,000 mortgages, and you can figure out, oh my God, New York State has an investment program. They're trying to reinvest in their state. I can carve out New York County mortgages out of this huge pool and pick up a couple basis points. That's what you do in single family. And multifamily is all about the property and the sponsor. So it's really different. In the end, it's assets put in a trust and sold, but they're so different.
That's great. Does that get to your question? Oh, great. Other questions? So I think maybe, one in the far back.
Yeah, do you guys have a fast track kind of program for MBA students? It sounds like a lot of your recruiting efforts are focused on people coming right out of undergrad.
For us, it is primarily undergrad, but we're a relatively small shop. I'm not sure about you guys.
We take everybody. We've got, it depends on the position that we are hiring for. Actually, we have a couple positions open, so come talk to us later. And we are looking for somebody with experience. We've got some green analysts in some of our offices, and we're looking for somebody that's had a couple jobs under their belt and is in their MBA program. So we welcome everybody.
Don't get me wrong, we have many people within the firm who have an MBA, but what we don't really have is a, let's say, fast-track program per se. So if someone's coming out, in our shop, our culture is one where, if, and again, our chairman, we don't pay for tuition reimbursement. His has a philosophy is I don't want to pay for somebody to get trained to go someplace else. So, but we do encourage people to go for their MBA. It definitely pays value long-term. But we don't, let's say, if someone's coming in with an MBA, if coming in with an analyst, as an analyst position, we're not going to pay you 25% more because you have an MBA. We don't recognize that. It will get you farther, faster later, but not up front.
Typically your fast track is you paving the road for yourself. Yeah. It's not a question of you're coming in and you're going to be in an elevated status because you have an MBA. Typically it means you're starting that much farther ahead, which means your learning curve theoretically will be shorter. I've seen undergrads do just as well as MBAs. It's all about what you learn, how fast you learn it, your drive, your passion, all of the above. It's just, there's no real answer to it, but short answer is no, there isn't. But you can speed it up if you learn quickly. And
I think you heard before from some of the other associates that the nice thing about this industry, age is irrelevant, whether you've been there 2 years or 22 years. If you bring some new ideas to the table, you bring that enthusiasm, you don't have to be there 10 or 15 years to get to that next level. You may be sitting next to somebody, if you've got 5 years experience, next to somebody who's got 20 years experience. It really just depends upon you. It really does. That's what's great about the industry. It does leave a lot of opportunity for individualism. Even though it seems very, strict, it's not, because it's all about creativity.
And landing a huge client helps.
Absolutely. So I think our final question back in the back there. So the question is big data, and this might get to some of the single-family conversation versus commercial multifamily. Sort of how do you think about data sets, and do you have folks within your firms that are dealing with sort of big data sets as opposed to underwriting sort of maybe on a deal by deal basis?
Big data being the buzzword that it is, the analytics is great. It's what you do with it, at least in my experience, and I'll defer to the leaders because they probably have a better idea of what their organizations are doing with that data. Obviously, it's going to help. Any way to break down trends, any way to break down, even if you're pulling out small data sets out of a huge field, if it can help, if it can make the business more efficient, if it can reduce your operational costs, yeah, people are going to pay attention to it. But is there a, driven, we've just hired a new chief innovation officer, so it'll be curious to see if they in fact do use data analytics and big data as part of the development process for the organization itself.
One of the things about our industry, too, is you have organizations like the MBA that really provide a tremendous amount of research. There's so much data that's out there that you want to be able to really manage this data and drill it down to your particular industry and maybe your particular asset class. So we rely on a lot of organizations or specialists like the MBA. So within the scope of career opportunities, it's not just us, but it's like those other kind of supported in parts of the industry where there's tremendous opportunities to learn, and you focus in and you can add value to help the entire industry. For us, we've recently hired a couple of research analysts for the first time, and they're helping really the entire group. We're looking at, really focusing on taking the data from MBA, helping direct where the business is going in certain regions and asset classes, And again, our focus, like most of the folks here, 85% of our business is multifamily. So it is a lot of opportunities, maybe not individually, but through an organization like MBA.
And similar to us, we have some of our production offices that, one in particular, an analyst, that was just kind of her background, was data and research, and that she's an investment analyst by title, but for her team that she works with, she's researching daily and getting those updates from the MBA and translating that and helping the team with whatever they're working on.
That's great. So with that, I think we're going to wrap up here. We're going to move upstairs in just a minute to, I believe it's Fisher, where we'll have opportunity for you to meet with the individual firms, follow up on some of these conversations, have a little bit more in-depth conversation. Help me thank both the panelists as well as Georgetown for hosting.